Yahweh, how are they increased that trouble me? Many are they that rise up against me. Many there be which say of my soul, there is no help for him in God, Selah. But thou, O Yahweh, art a shield for me, my glory and the lifter up of mine head. I cried unto Yahuwah with my voice, and he heard me out of his holy hills, Selah. I laid me down and slept. I awake, for the I am sustained me. I will not be afraid of 10,000s of people that have set themselves against me round about. Arise, O Yahweh, save me, O my God. For thou hast smitten all mine enemies upon the cheekbone, and hast broken the teeth of the ungodly. Salvation belongeth unto the I am. Thy blessing is upon thy people. Salah. Psalms chapter 3. Deliver me from the hands of evil spirits who have sway over the thoughts of men's hearts. And let them not lead me astray from thee, my God. Establish me and my children that we go not astray from thee henceforth and forevermore. Jubilees chapter 12 and verse 20, a prayer of Abraham. Yes. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. We're in the dead of morning here. Yes, and also we found out that in even Limpopo, Africa, it's phenomenally snowing there. But either way, we thank God for you, and we give God the glory. Some things we wonder, why does God do these things? It's not good to come to an assumption unless you're shown the reason why, especially when it comes to the Most High. We can say that men are doing it, but why did God allow men to do these things? See, this is where the spirituality of those of today, of the children of Israel, has diminished versus those back in the earlier days, which were very heightened. Now, today we are in the book of Ruth. Yes, the book of Ruth. The book of Ruth. We're in the second chapter of the book of Ruth. Very good book here. There's two books to the book of Ruth. One was in the, should I say, the Ethiopian Bible, which the colonizers has rejected. But the fact is, we have it now. Thank the Most High for his mercy and his favor. Yes. Now, we've just known that Ruth made the decision that she would go with her mother-in-law of her deceased husband, the mother of her deceased husband, which is Naomi. And both of them decide to make the trek back to Bethlehem, Judah, so that they might be among Naomi's kinsmen. And Ruth made the vow that she would be, that not only, this stays with God. You might hear a dog in the background in the morning. They're always barking at something. Excuse, please. But the fact is that this Ruth, she made a vow. She said, note that one part, your God will be my God. Now this had to stick with God. Your God. So in other words, she knew the law. She was taught the law and the ways of the Most High and the way of Israel, which is the way of the Most High. Yes. Now we're in verse 2. And Naomi had a kinsman of her husband. Chapter 2, I'm sorry. And Naomi had a kinsman of her husband, a mighty man of wealth, of the family of Elimelech, and his name was Boaz. You are for a big, you Christians, you are with your, should I say, heartfelt and your emotional felt thing, you telling Christian women what they should have. Many of them are not going to go to the humbleness of Ruth. You note that. You're going to see who really would. When you say you want your Boaz, we're going to show you what your Boaz is going to be like. Now, let's adventure. And verse 2, Ruth the Moabitess, yes, she was a Moabite, of the children of Moab. Yes, she was. She wasn't an Israelite by her own people, but only by marriage she became, and she had joined herself unto Israel. And she was a wife of an Israelite. Yes, she was, of the children of Ephraim. And Ruth the Moabitess came, said unto Naomi, let me now go to the field. They already got to Bethlehem, Judah, or Judah, Bethlehem. And she said, let me now go to the field. They had to have some food now. And glean ears of corn after him whose sight I shall find grace. And she said unto her, and she said, I shall find grace. And she said unto her, go, my daughter. Go, my daughter. In verse 3. And she went and came and gleaned in the field after the reapers. And her hap was to light on a part of the field belonging unto Boaz. So who was the kindred of Elimelech? In other words, either his brother, his cousin, or something. Elimelech. Now, and behold, Boaz came from Bethlehem and said unto the reapers, the I am be with you. Very devout man, as it appears here, to even say that to his reapers. Now, these people were not slaves, as the Bible would try to make you think. They were servants. They were paid. They were hired. Just like your migrant workers or your farm workers. You have many reapers. There's nothing wrong with working on a farm and picking fruits and vegetables. It's just the fact is here in America, or should I say the U.S., we have gotten high above that to make a living just picking fruits and vegetables. And many times, America, the U.S. has gotten out of really manufacturing. And this is the dilemma why the U.S. is going to suffer much. NAFTA has really done a job. So you don't realize how this thing has really culminated even to what we have today. To become, they already had a global plan. Number one, to become enforcers or should I say the chastisers or police of the world. That don't work. Then now we go to the U.S. dollar, which is based on not only your labor, but oil and all these other things. And now that is diminishing and the power of the dollar is going. But to labor is nothing wrong with laboring. People have done that for years. It doesn't make you slave. You watch too much television, I put it that way. Too much television. It's just the fact is, as the prices of things go up, people get richer and people don't earn enough. And then their prices have to go up and that they might earn to buy the products that they're also working to pick and, or should I say manufacture. But these products are manufactured in another place. And that is a bad deal. And they shed so many smoke screens. Many of you have forgotten. You have forgotten what happened with the housing bubble because of NAFTA. People lost their jobs. Their manufacturing jobs and textiles and other manufacturing jobs that really were taken overseas. Not only to Mexico, but also China and other various places where the manufacturers want to make a buck. You know, the first thing to go is the employees when a manufacturer is going down. Or he has to downsize because if he lowers his prices, he can't pay the people what he pay, so they say. But greed is the bottom line. Either way, let's continue. And when she came in verse 3 and gleaned in the field after the reapers, her hap was to light on part of the field belonging unto Boaz, who was of the kindred of Elimelech. Now apparently she knew this, and she knew the law. And behold, Boaz came from Bethlehem and said unto the reapers, the I am be with you. And they answered him, and the I am blessed thee. Then said Boaz unto his servants that was over the reapers, whose damsel is this? Now note, you so-called Christian, whatever women you are, Boaz, what was he? Who was Boaz? He had to be of the same age as Naomi. In other words, he was old enough to be Ruth's father. Give or take, yeah, not even give or take. He was old enough to be Ruth's father. You're talking about an older man here. I'm sure you've seen some of these shows where they tell the woman in her, you call it delusional grandeur, that she's going to meet a man making six figures and all this other stuff, and that she's going to have a rich man. Yeah, it might happen for very few, very rare. But the fact is, Boaz was a very wealthy man. Okay? And he was of the kindred of Naomi. Now, the story is going to take a twist, and then it's going to turn the right way again. Boaz, we have to realize, Boaz was an Ephraimite. He had to be an Ephraimite. And the fact is, he was wealthy, and also Boaz was a male. For those of you who think that God, it doesn't matter what the heathen think, what does God's word say for the children of Jacob? We're not concerning ourselves with the heathen says. DNA only identifies the father, if you can find the father. But the fact is, DNA only can tell if that's your mother. But the seed of the father, if you can identify the father, you identified the seed. Never has that thing have gone for the mother. He said the brother goes into it. Now this also is in Deuteronomy chapter 25 and verse 5 through 6. We're going to see about that too. And God has a plan in his law that the seed of the man, see, many of you women, you get married in other races and other things, you have lost your identity. You have lost your, whatever seed, your eggs are not going unto the children of Israel. Because I don't care whether you look black, white, or half black or half white, if your father is not of Israel, and his father is not of Israel, then you will never be of Judah. You will never be of a child of Judah, because the woman is not counted in this thing. Her seed, yes, because of her DNA and her mindset or whatever, that is included too. The child is technically, if his father is a male of the children of Jacob, then that child is a part of Israel or the children of Jacob. But if the mother goes and marries into a certain peoples, her eggs doesn't count for the children of Israel, although you might have Israeli DNA. See, this thing, you must know who your father is. If your father is white and you have a woman that knows she's a child of Judah, she's lent her eggs unto another nation. And that child is of the nation of that father, although they might not appear white. Do you understand? Clarity. Now, let's begin again. Many times in war, ancient wars, it wasn't the man that was being molested and ravished. It was his wife. It was either his wife, his daughters, the virgins. They were the one ravished. They were the one. The child is not of the children of Israel, period. Does that sound, should I say, being bigoted? No, it's not. It's the law. It's the way God has things. God has purposed that everything should come through the male, period. There is no exception to that rule, regardless of how you look, how kinky your hair is, or wide your nose is, or how thick your lips are. It doesn't matter. Or how white you are, or whatever. If you haven't come through the male, you have to come through the male of Judah, the male of Israel, the males of the children of Jacob, in order to be before the Most High. Man can say what he wants to say, but before you can come before, because God knows those who are his, because he already made an identity system that nothing can penetrate. Come on here. If an Israeli man becomes that of a he marries a white woman or a woman of another race, lighter or Filipino, whatever. This child of Jacob, this child is a child of Jacob, regardless of the woman. I don't care what you say. Maybe God, God don't desire that, but it is so. Period. It is so. So let's call a buck a buck. Don't mean go out there and do all this and do all that. Things happen. People mix. But still, the seed of the males of Judah determines who is, or should I say, the seed of the males of Jacob determines who are the children of Jacob. Period. Now, woman, I always say you are transitional. In other words, who you lend your eggs to is who that child is of. Period. Whether it's by graping or, should I say, consensual stuff that you do, your child is not of that of the children of Jacob. No. Or that child. So that child would have to just join itself unto the children of Jacob. Therefore, that child cannot come into the congregation. Neither can that child begin to do the duties of some duties that God has determined only for the children of Jacob. Yes. Regardless, if you don't know who you are, then let it go. Don't even go there. But we all must obey the commandments, statutes, and ordinances in order to be delivered of this world. Yes. Now, I had to bring that out. Now she went and came and gleaned in the field after the reapers, and her hap was to light on part of the field belonging unto Boaz, who was a kindred Amalek, brother, cousin, or whatever he was. And behold, Boaz came from Bethlehem and said unto the reapers, the I am be with you. And they answered him, the I am bless thee. They all knew the law. They were trying to do what was right, even though in that time man still did what seemeth right in his eyes, or should I say the children of Jacob. And the servant was set over the reapers and answered and said unto the Moabitish damsel that came back with Naomi out of the country of Moab, and she said, I pray you, let me glean and gather after the reapers among the sheaves. And so she came and hath continued even among morning till now, that she tarried a little in the house. Then said Boaz unto Ruth, hearest thou not, my daughter? Go not glean in another field, neither go from thence, but abide here fast, my maidens. Now, he had a part where he would have the maidens glean what after the reapers had left, because they was going fast. They would have to be going fast, in other words, to get that stuff out so it would get to market. But the fact is that this is part of the law. In other words, he said, go not back over your fields. Don't go back over your fields. This is in the law now. He's doing what the law has says in order that he might be blessed of the Most High in his crops. This is why the United States have to sit up there in different countries that will shoot you just for taking even that guy in South Africa and fed the people to the pigs. This was hideous. But God has his number. God has his name, and he knows who he is and what he did. These people were hungry. But the fact is that, and it wasn't even his land. It belongs to the South Africans, period. They should have just took it from him, but whatever. Lima's not there. But either way, God says, don't go back over the fields after you have reaped, but leave the rest for the animals, leave the rest for those who to glean who are poor of the people. This is what he's saying. And Boaz is blessed because this is what he allows. People to come and glean the fields. They cannot afford to buy the stuff at the market. Yes, this is how many were fed. Now, verse 9, and let thine eyes be on the fields that they do reap. He knew who she was. And go thou after them. I have not charged the young men that they should not touch thee. And when thou art athirst, go unto the vessels of drink and drink of that which the young men have drawn. In other words, she's a young woman, probably in her 20s. And here he is. He's saying, well, I'm going to take care of this because she was the wife of one of my kinfolks. Okay, he knew this. Then she fell on her face and bowed herself to the ground and said unto him, Why have I found grace in thy sight, that thou shouldest take knowledge of me, seeing I am a stranger? In other words, this tells you right here that she's a Moabite. She knew she was a Moabite, but she married into the nation of Israel through Ephraim. Yes, she did. So those of you who got all this stuff crazy, and you need to go back and restudy your word back again, not to be boasting or nothing like that. It's just the fact that you've got it wrong. Ladies and gentlemen, you've got that all wrong. She is a Moabite. She says she was a stranger. And Boaz answered and said unto her, It has fully been shown me that all that thou hast done unto thy mother-in-law since the death of thine husband, and how thou hast left thy father and thy mother and the land of thy nativity, and are come unto a people which thou knowest not heretofore. In other words, she loved her mother-in-law. And the I am recompense thy work, and a full reward be given thee. Now, Boaz had to have some education about her, and he knew about the people of Moab. He had to know about these things. The men of Jacob, they would do these things. They would study those parchments and papers that they have in order to be versed in who's who. And they kept records. Yes, very much records. And yet the bowing and everything still continues in the continent of Africa. I mean, you have women bow to men and men bow to men in this form where they even get on their knees. This is the thing that they do. Was this not a part of Israel at one time? Okay, let's continue. So we know that because of that tradition, many did come from the land of Palestine, or what they call Palestine. That is a colonizer name from the Palestinians. The land is not Palestinians. The land is the land of Shem and the land of Israel. It was colonized because of Deuteronomy chapter 28. And the I am, and those, mostly of those children that have the DNA of Israel are not Israelites. It comes from their mothers who were molested and raped during the time of colonization of the so-called Arabs. Now, because one thing about it, they don't allow the black male to, rarely you see a black male that's married to one of their women because of their racism, period. That's all over that area, over in North Africa and over in the other part, which is part of Africa too. Yes, you can say they all come from Africa because it's part of what the country that is called Africa, they come from. It was all what they call it the Middle East. Ain't no such thing as the Middle East. That's Africa, period. You can call it Israel Africa or whatever. You can call it Israel Africa. Then you had Moab Africa. Then you had Saudi Africa. You had all that stuff right over there. Yes, it's all Africa. Don't get it twisted. But they twisted it for you. Now, we shall continue. He says, now, you didn't know these people, and the I am recompense thy work, and a full reward be given thee of the I am God of Israel, under whose wings thou art come to trust. Yes, in other words, he knew she was a woman of great worth because she trusted God. A Moabite, a child of Shem, trusted God, period. Then she said, let me find favor in thy sight, my owner, is what she's saying. For that thou hast comforted me, for thou hast spoken friendly unto thine handmaid, though I be not like one of thine handmaids. In other words, she wasn't an Israelite. But yet, he knew who she was and what she meant to his people. And Boaz said unto her, At mealtime come thou hither and eat of the bread, and dip thy morsel in vinegar. And she ate beside the reapers. I mean, you talking about barley bread and vinegar? I don't know what it tastes like. It must taste pretty good, yes. And he reached her parched corn. He gave it to her himself, and she did eat. I mean, she had corn, barley bread, and some vinegar, usually balsamic, probably, something like that. And was sufficed and left. These things they ate. And she was risen up to glean. And Boaz commanded his young men, saying, Let her glean even among the sheaves, and reproach her not. She was special. He knew she was special because of how Naomi's, his brother, or either one of his kinsmen, probably he knew him very good. Yes. It doesn't give us that detail, but apparently Naomi was married to a special man, and Boaz knew this thing. So she gleaned in the field until even, and beat out that she had gleaned. And it was about an ephah of barley. That was pretty good. And she took it up and went into the city, and her mother-in-law saw what she had gleaned, and she brought forth and gave to her, and she had reserved after she was sufficed. And her mother-in-law said unto her, Where hast thou gleaned today? Where wrougest thou? Blessed be he that did take knowledge of thee. And she showed her mother-in-law with whom she had wrought, and said, The man's name with whom I wrought today is Boaz. You know, he's saying, hey, she was poor. She was of the poor of the land, and went to glean of a man who was practicing the law, according to the law of those who own fields of food, to allow this thing to be. And even in the 7th year, to allow the land to rest. And Naomi said unto her daughter-in-law, Blessed be he of the I am, who hath not left off his kindness to the living and to the dead. And Naomi said unto her, The man is near of kin unto us, one of our next kinsmen. And Ruth the Moabitess said, He said unto me, Thou shalt keep fast by my young men until they have ended my harvest. And Naomi said unto Ruth her daughter-in-law, It is good, my daughter, that thou shouldest go out with his maidens, that they meet thee not in any other field. So she kept fast by the maidens of Boaz to glean unto the end of the barley harvest and wheat harvest, and dwelt with her mother-in-law. Now, this woman had a character that would probably, Ruth had a character that would transfer onto her son. This character is, she was a woman, she was humble, she was meek. Now, it would carry on to her son also. Not only that, but with her marrying Boaz and bearing his child, his ingenuity in how to, should I say, supervise and conduct business would carry on too. So she kept fast by the maidens of Boaz to glean unto the end of the barley harvest, of the wheat harvest, and dwelt with her mother-in-law. In other words, that was like her mother. She went and dwelt, she gleaned, and she would work to keep her mother, and that her mother would stay healthy and wealthy. Yes, although they were kin, and Naomi was the wife of the kinsman of Boaz, Boaz was an older man. An old man that some of you young women call, that says, oh, you're washed up. Boaz was old enough to be Ruth's father. So you want your Boaz, huh? We're going to talk more about this later. And with that, we're going to say peace.
Walk with me.